Welcome to the highlights of the first day's play of the third test match at Edgbaston. Australia 2 up in the series with 4 to go, and leading into this match, absolute chaos for the England selection committee. The two teams for the game on what was just about a perfect day. England have Gooch and Tim Curtis comes into the side. Then there's Barnett and Tavares in, Gower and Botham, Russell, Embury, and a relatively inexperienced pace attack with Graham Dilley right at the bottom leading it, Paul Jarvis and Angus Fraser. The Australians go in with the same side as won at Lord's, umpires Harold Bird and John Holder. The news is that Australia won the toss and decided to bat. The pitch looked to be an absolute belter, a few little cracks in it, not much grass, and superb conditions with the sun breaking through as the batsman went out. We join play now in the second over. It's 7 for no wicket. Paul Jarvis is the bowler from the pavilion end, coming into bowl to Jeff Marsh, and already umpire Harold Bird has been down having a look at the pitch where Paul Jarvis has been making marks in his follow-through.
Well, that's close. Not very far forward either.
Well, disappointment there for Paul Jarvis. Good delivery that round about that off stump line. I think the only argument there was whether Marsh could get his knee just outside the off stump.
Oh, that's a good one. The crowd appreciated, even if Taylor didn't.
Taylor already had a knock this morning in the nets. And almost took another bad one there. Looking away from it, short. Probably didn't get quite as high and catching him just above the elbow.
Fraser is the fielder. And the outfield is very quick. And Dilley has bowled extremely well in his 5 overs. Yeah, that's a good shot. It's a lovely, wristy, square cut.
Jarvis here straying outside off stump and quite short of a length. And Mark Taylor terribly strong on that off stump, either off the front or back foot, and they're cutting the ball away terribly powerfully.
First warning for Paul Jarvis for running down too close to the line of the stumps. He might have been a little unlucky there. That ball came back at him at quite a brisk pace. He was more concerned with the fielding than anything else. Another good shot from Taylor. Now this is an expensive over for a number of reasons so far as England are concerned. First ball in Test cricket coming up now for Angus Fraser.
Oh, dear. The despair of Paul Jarvis.
Paul Jarvis doing wonderfully well here to make the stop, but then luck not going his way. Amazing there, but the ball here on such a good outfield to just bobble over his hand to go for 4.
And now there's a huge cheer, not for that man putting on the sweater, but for the gentleman who has just removed his. No introduction required, Ian Botham. And a big shout for LBW, and that must have been close. Gentle stop from Botham, a little bit of swing in the air.
Ian Botham, they're really playing up to the crowd. They gave him a terrific reception when he took his sweater off, and he's got them going with a big appeal.
That's very well stopped. Kim Barnett in the gully is the man who got a hand to that. It just saved possible four.
Very good save there from Kim Barnett. And I must say, despite all the setbacks that England have had with injuries coming into this test match, which they've had to put up with in the previous two matches, there does appear to be a good spirit out there in the field.
That's the 50 up, and a very good call. One of the features of Australian play in the series has been the understanding between the batsmen. They've taken lots of good short singles.
And that's close again, because that's held up from possibly from leg to off.
Ian Botham here, the decision the umpire's got to make here, whether the ball's just missing off stump. Not much bounce there, the ball hit it in the pad roll, and a close decision there for the umpire to give.
Oh, good effort there. Good effort from Russell. A brilliant performance. He seemed quite keen on it as well.
Brilliant wicket keeping here from Jack Russell. The ball this time not swinging from Ian Botham. Does extremely well there. The batsman just getting his foot back into the crease.
Well, that was a loose shot because it was wide and may well have turned a little bit more, but there was no real need for Taylor to have played it.
Great bowling here from John Emery, and that the ball angled in there towards the left-hander. In fact, turned quite considerably, so that's great encouragement there for John Emery.
Tim Curtis dons the headgear after his lunch. Someone had a better lunch and is oblivious to the fact that England have turned again to Botham as Mark Taylor faces. A loose ball. Maybe Botham had a good lunch too. And Dilley gives it up. It's 4 runs. Just in front of the square on the offside.
That's a nice shot. It was beautifully timed by Mark Taylor, whereas the first one of the first ball was very short. That was just a fraction over pitched. Didn't quite get that off the middle of the bat. Well, that was very well saved by Angus Fraser.
Ian Botham bowling at not much above medium pace, probably nothing above medium pace, I wouldn't think. Just he's banged one into the track in his 11 overs, but it's been thoughtful bowling from Botham, but I'm not sure how much longer that David Gower can persist with him from the members' end. I think he's probably got to make a bit of a change at that end. He's really got to break this partnership.
He's done it through Embury, who's spun one a long, long way. Past the outside edge of Taylor's bat. And Jack Russell, who almost pulled off a great stumping off both of them earlier, has now picked up the wicket of left-hander Mark Taylor.
Well, that's a plus mark there for David Gower's captaincy. He's worked out that the left-hander doesn't play the spin as well as he plays pace, and he was beaten with a very good delivery there from John Embury. A lot of turn, but good flight. Taylor is out for 43. Australia losing their first wicket at 88.
Everything has been moving smoothly for the Australians. They had a good match at Glamorgan the other day on the lovely Neath ground. Good tune-up for this test match. They've been able to choose from, well, just about the full 17 of the touring party, and they've gone in with the same 11 as played at Lord's. That's LBW, second wicket in 3 overs. 1 to Embury, now 1 to Botham, and Geoff Marsh goes LBW. 42 he made, 94 for 2 now, and already this is a good session for England.
Geoffrey Marsh is a real worker when it comes to batting. He'll work very hard for his runs. He's most annoyed with himself that he's got out after having done all the hard work. He didn't get the pad outside the line of off stump. That hit him well and truly in line. Was never going to bounce over the top of the stumps, and Dickie Bird was very quick to get the finger up.
And now suddenly inside the first half hour you have Marsh gone for 42 just after Taylor was dismissed for 43.
Now what's John Embury got in mind for the left-handed border? There's the leading run getters in Test history with border just poised, and that just might be the runs he wants. That brings the 100 up. That takes border on to 7, and that takes him on to 8,000 runs in Test cricket. John Embury bowling just as well as he did at Lord's, and it was encouraging really to see him settle into a long spell there. There we are. Border's marvellous figures.
Well, he's bowled it. Border can't believe it. With no shots. Complete misjudgment. Leg stump taken. Alan Border bowled by Embury for 8, and Australia 105 for 3.
Once again, John Embury's caused problems for Border, bowling at that leg stump.
Well, Border will still be trying to work out just what happened there, but we see that pad just not covering, and the ball going on. In fact, had it turned from his leg to off, then would have hit the pad, but it didn't. Straight on, and there goes the leg stump. And what a good session for England. Dean Jones, the new batsman. Jones, a pretty positive batsman. What a lovely shot that is to get off the mark with.
Well, this was beautifully timed. Probably the shot of the day for me. Looked to be no real effort, just like he was pushing it away for 1 towards mid-wicket. See, that just whip of the wrist, that split second, just as he made contact, the wrist turned, and that really spread away to just in front of square. Beautiful shot.
Well, to the left of slip, made more difficult with the keeper standing up. And that's one of the problems that it creates.
Yes, you could never really put that as a chance. Flashing off the back foot, well to his left. Tavery trying to reach it, couldn't quite get there. Maybe stood a fraction wide, but that is a problem, as Jack says, when the keeper stood up. He'd probably gone that foot straighter now, just that little bit. And that's all it was, just that extra foot. Just that little bit wide there at first step.
Well, that's one of the few full half volleys that Botham's delivered, and Boon needed no second invitation. Lovely shot.
The bright sunshine's gone in, but it's very hot. There's a breeze, but it's warm. John Embury. Oh yes, that's a very good batsmanship there by David Boon. Down the pitch and cleanly struck straight over the top, and it poses John Embury the problem now. Shall I put one back or shall I not?
Great demonstration of coming down the wicket there, the chassis, the right foot coming just up to the left or maybe in front, just in front there, and driving the ball with great power back over the bowler's head.
Change of bowling. Graham Dilley takes over from Ian Botham at the pavilion end. That's our commentary end. Lovely shot. Probably taken off the stumps, but beautifully timed, and that races away across the boundary rope.
Graham Dilley will be disappointed that this ball just faded in, but a marvellous shot there with great timing through mid-wicket.
That's a bad ball, and they get punished in Test cricket. There's no doubt about that. Graham Dilley pulled it down, and David Boon leapt onto it.
Graham Dilley trying to make the ball swing out, but unfortunately at the moment the ball is drifting in for him.
Angus Fraser coming back into the attack.
The 164 means that 59-run partnership between this pair, which goes one ahead of the previous best by Australia on this ground in a test. Pad.
Well, certainly at the pad, whether it hit anything else. Certainly one or two of the slip fielders thought it might have got a little inside edge onto the pad, but certainly a difficult one to take. Well, that's an excellent over again by Fraser. Certainly beat the bat on a couple of occasions, really kept the batsman playing every ball, and you can see the difference there. Dilley and Jarvis both quite expensive, and in the previous test matches the middle order bowling has also gone for the runs, but there Fraser, Botham and Embury all very economical, and that's put the pressure on the Australian batting without a doubt.
Oh, my word, Boon was lucky there. Embury beat him in the flight.
Yes, the thing that saved him was the back leg. It hits the back pad or the back leg, and that just diverts it far enough. As you see Jack Russell going down the leg side, he's got to dive back to the right, and he can't quite grab it.
Jarvis now to Dean Jones. Oh, well, that could have gone back on the leg stump.
Certainly hasn't had a lot of luck in the 2 test matches that he's played so far, Paul Jarvis. That one did Dean Jones for pace. It was on him, hit the bat rather than him hitting the ball, and it must have gone very close to leg stump.
And that's 50. .75 deliveries, 5 fours, and a pretty positive innings by Jones. Great shot.
likes to use his feet, David Boon, and he's not frightened to loft the ball. But on this occasion, he opts to go along the ground and through mid-off.
There's a lovely shot. Perfect off drive.
Wasn't a half volley, but Dean Jones put it away beautifully, hitting it on the rise, and I think that's an indication of how good this wicket is.
Here's the 200 for Australia. His fourth wicket stand now threatening.
Peel is out in that most freak way. David Boon is run out because Jarvis got a finger to the ball, flew onto the stumps, and poor David Boon was out of his crease. Well, that's poor luck whenever you see it. It rarely happens, but when it does, it just mows the man down.
Well, I was saying earlier that Paul Jarvis hadn't had much luck, and maybe that's the change of luck that he needed. Just got a finger on it. And a good decision there by umpire Holder. He was a little loath to give it, I think, because he felt sorry for the batsman. But he gave it, and David Boon is run out for 38. Australia losing their fourth wicket with the total of 201.
Yes, that's a good shot. Steve Waugh, his favourite cover drive. John Emburey, who's having to charge off to the boundary rope. No one moves. Crashing shot by Steve Waugh.
Steve Waugh through the series has shown what a very fine player he is on the offside. Usually plays that shot a little bit more square of the wicket, but this time with great control, aiming the ball just behind square on the offside.
Oh, that was so close to the top edge.
No luck again for Paul Jarvis here. Again, very, very good line. And even though the ball here looking to come in towards the batsman, both in the air and off the pitch, Steve Waugh, in fact, getting the bat just on the inside of the ball there.
John Emburey to Steve Waugh. Oh, that turned. Well, you could see Steve Waugh shape for one of his big offside shots then, and the sudden turn of the ball had him changing his mind.
Interesting to see where John Emburey's front foot lands there as he bowls. He's getting in very close and really gives him a lot of turn in the body and in the delivery.
That's a good shot. Very well played. Not quite the half volley. It was on the up, but beautifully played with a very straight bat by Steve Waugh. 4 more runs.
Very well bowled.
Certainly an example here of how Ian Botham will be trying to get Steve Waugh out. And if that had been a thickish edge, the keeper stood back, would catch it comfortably. If he stood up, it might be a very difficult chance.
Just seems to me the weather might be closing in a little. Certainly Dilley is coming back from the city end. That was a splendid stroke from what could best be described as a loosener from Dilley. A loosener it was, and there was only a little time left before the storm hit. Just 3 more runs were added to take the total along to 232 for 4. Marsh out for 42 and Taylor 43. Boone 38. Border 8. Jones was 71 not out at the close and War 17 not out. 13 extras, 232 for 4. It was a pretty good day for both sides. England fought back well, and Australia took advantage of the toss. The bowling figures for England: a wicket to Botham and 2 to Embry. I thought Embry bowled well, and there's no doubt in my mind that he is better when he's employing a couple of outfielders. 2 for 51, 25 overs and 4 maidens. And Angus Fraser, a great debut, I thought. 14 overs, 3 maidens, none for 26. Well, the umpires took the players off the field, and very wisely so too. They got those covers on, and that is what happened outside the ground. A little bit of block drain problem, I'd suggest. The police had their hands full out there. There were cars stalling, traffic to be moved. It was absolute chaos. They did a terrific job. And that is inside the ground. Tremendous hailstone falling on the ground. Water covering the ground inches deep at one stage. The ground staff will have a big job to do. Those covers were put on, and someone was prepared to take full advantage of them. Not elegant, but there you go. The lightning flashing and the thunder crashing, you don't have to be elegant. Ground staff will have plenty to do, I can assure you, but they are very good here. And back outside, there are all sorts of problems for the police and for other people as well. I think it's a case of... The third Cornhill Test match at Edgbaston. Welcome to the highlights of the second day's play. Unfortunately, a most abbreviated day. The fierce electric storm, which hit the ground yesterday evening, left its mark this morning, and it rained steadily all the way through the luncheon period and into the afternoon. Eventually, the umpires were able to make a start at 4:30. The Australian scorecard from overnight, with the 2 not-out batsmen, Dean Jones and Steve Waugh, showed them 232 for 4. Jones was 71 and Waugh 17. Those great covers had done their job very well, and the umpires were able to get a start at 4:30 once the rain actually stopped. We join play now with the very first ball of the day. It's actually the 4th ball of Ian Botham's incomplete over, and facing it is Steve Waugh.
This ground's recovered remarkably well from the torrential cloudburst we had last night, and heavy rain again during the night and early this morning, and that cover, that did its job, covering the entire width of the ground and the 20-yard limits of the bowler's run-ups at either end, and that's really what's enabled play to get underway so promptly once rain stops. Graham Dilley, his first over, the 85th of the innings. That's a very good stop indeed. Curtis. Second new ball due at the end of this over. It's a fine shot. Full half volley, but couldn't be dealt with in a better way. First 4 of the day. Waugh's 4th boundary.
Well, Ian Botham a little frustrated with the footmarks, but what is happening, the new ball doesn't seem to be swinging all that much. I don't think that David Gower can keep him on bowling at that pace if he's not going to swing the ball, and certainly if he's going to be as expensive as he was in that over.
Do a couple more at least. Fraser after it. And again, this good running between these two. That makes 3 runs of it. Brings up to 250, so 18 runs having come since the resumption at 4:30. No ball called. That'll be 4 runs. Fine shot from Jones. Very strong on his legs and a beautiful timer of the ball. And that's the 50 partnership.
That really was a sweet piece of timing there by Dean Jones.
It's the best ball Graham Dilley has bowled today. He might even put yesterday in that as well.
Looks there, certainly the Graham Dilley there got outswing. Nice to see that and encouraging for England.
So it's Angus Fraser now from the pavilion end. Shout there against Dean Jones.
Umpire here having to decide whether the ball's beating leg stump, but it looks there as though the ball nipped back quite considerably and passing leg stump for width and might have even gone over the top as well.
Plenty of width there for Steve Waugh. Twice in 2 overs, Dilley has gone past the outside edge.
Yesterday, Graham Dilley had problems with the ball. He kept making it come into the right-hander, but in this spell, since the break, he's bowled exceptionally well with the ball swinging out.
Beautiful stroke. Moves into the 40s now. Very quick to take advantage of anything short and a little wide.
Have a look, see how much height Steve Waugh gets here when playing off the back foot. Goes right up onto that right toe. In fact, a little jump just before he makes contact. Marvellous follow through there. The bat finishing over the top of the left shoulder. Going for that favourite shot again, but this one just bouncing a little bit higher, and lucky there not to get a faint edge through to keeper Jack Russell.
Well, that was a great effort. Save 4 runs, but put down the chance. It's Graham Gooch at point.
Three similar deliveries running here from Graham Dilley, getting quite a bit of bounce this time, and the ball hitting quite high up nearer the splice then, but a very difficult catch for Graham Gooch going away to his left.
Gone for the first time in this series. Angus Fraser has dismissed Steve Waugh for 43. 5th wicket is down for Australia with 272 on the board.
Angus Fraser has really deserved his first Test match wicket. There the ball nipping back between the gate. I should think Steve Waugh would be a little bit disappointed that he didn't get forward to that delivery. Once he got back, there was a fair bit of pace in the delivery and nipping back between bat and pad.
First Test wicket for Angus Fraser. Now Ian Healy. Comes in to join Dean Jones, who's on 83. Four more outside edge, but all the way along the ground. And Jones goes on to 87.
England have had a good spell with the ball here, and it looks as though Graham Dilley has again just moved that ball only fractionally away from the right-handed batsman there. But Dean Jones getting the thick outside edge. But vital that England keep bowling very tightly as they are at the moment, just outside that off stump.
That's a glorious stroke. I reckon we might see on the replay that was picked off middle stump. Very half-hearted appeal from the bowler. Wicket-keeper and Slip started charging towards Barnett.
Umpire here's got to decide whether the ball, having hit the pad, did it just touch the bat on its way to gully there. Obviously very difficult for us to see in replay, and what a decision for an umpire to have to give. But the ball flying quite a considerable distance there off the pad.
Well, that's a cracking shot once again by Jones. And again, he's picked it off the stumps. It wasn't down the leg side, but he's now gone on to 97.
He's bowled him. He struck again. Well bowled, Angus Fraser. Ray Illingworth.
Yes, well, he's certainly continued as he was doing yesterday. He's bowled very straight, bowled a good length, and he's looked like taking wickets throughout the whole match, and he's getting a bit of just reward now for his performance yesterday. Again, it's a ball that's just angled in. Didn't do a great deal, but certainly got in between that bat and pad again. Fraser certainly looked a very, very promising find.
Dean Jones is 97 not out. Thrashes away at that, and that races away. Will it be the 100? Stopped by Embry with the big right boot. But he's gets to 3, and in fact, it is the 100. He races away. Some of his running between the wickets has been absolutely marvellous. Well played, Dean Jones. Full range of strokes, lovely running between the wickets, good control. And we have a factual record that it's the second 100 scored by an Australian in an Edgbaston Test match. Oh, beautiful, lovely line, moving away. That's the very best of Graham Dilley. 292 for 6. And David Gower is, as I say, trying to G him up. Dear, dear. Well, I must say, Graham Dilley deserves a little luck now.
Well, again, it's a fine delivery from Graham Dilley, but again, it's just that little bit wide. When it's out there, it's moving, and as soon as he bowls it straight onto off stump, he doesn't get the movement.
Play was stopped 2 balls later, and finally was abandoned at 6:22 p.m. Not much cricket in the day's play, but what there was very interesting. And Angus Fraser bowled wonderfully well again. He's picked up 2 wickets there, the 2 to fall, Steve Waugh and Ian Healy for 43 and 2. Dean Jones has reached a great century, 101 not out, and with him is Merv Hughes, not without 1 or 2 alarms outside the off stump. He's on 1, 294 for 6, and the bowling figures for England, well, you can hardly have a better debut than that. 19 overs, 6 maidens, 2 for 30 for Angus Fraser. And what was even better was that he bowled well. He just didn't have all that much luck, but he bowled really well and has quite a nice career in front of him, I should think. Both on 1 for 65, and Dilley was expensive today, 18 overs, 1 maiden, and no wicket for 80. So the situation is that Australia are in a strong position. England don't want to lose any time in this match. At the moment they have to win 2 from 4, and if this one's drawn it'll become 2 from 3. We look forward to having you with us here at Edgbaston for the 3rd day's play because of rain. The Australians 294 for the loss of 6 wickets at the start, a misty day, light drizzle all the way through the morning, and not until 3 o'clock were the umpires able to get the covers off and the ground staff see the fruits of their labours. 294 for 6, and when we join play, it's the 3rd ball of the 1st over. No runs have been added, and Fraser is the bowler to Dean Jones.
And certainly the pitch looks a little greener than it did at the start of the match. This morning there was quite a tinge of green, and since then it's had 4 hours under the covers, completely covered with tarpaulins, so we'll probably expect that the seam bowlers might get a little bit of movement off the pitch.
Well, beautifully bowled, and that's the type of leg cut railing Merv was talking about.
Yes, that was just about the perfect delivery. I suppose that the only thing it could have done would have been to clip the stumps. Certainly pitched on and moved out of the seam.
Angus Fraser is the bowler, Dean Jones the batsman. $102 to Dean Jones now, and 1 to Merv Hughes. Merv Hughes had a lot of trouble with Graham Dilley yesterday, fanning away outside off stump. Now he has to have a dash at Angus Fraser. Merv's given him a long, hard look, but he'll have no difficulty in recognising him. He's the fellow who's 6'5½".
I think Merv Hughes has perfected that shot.
Botham, outside edge. Hughes caught Botham, bowled Dilley. Dilley strikes for the first time. That was travelling a bit. Nice sharp catch for Ian Botham.
Good delivery there by Dilley. He got that a bit straighter. Almost on off stump. The ball moving out a little bit, turning Hughes round and going very quickly to Ian Botham, knee-high on his left leg there. Good sharp chance. Not many people are better catchers than Botham at slip. Got big hands and he doesn't miss too many.
Trevor Hohns is the batsman facing Dilley. There's a bit of pace and movement there, a little bit of lift as well.
Yes, Dilley moved the previous ball into Trevor Hohns, and that one going away and across him and bouncing. And fortunately, I'll get to the edge again.
Just a single down to Dilley. .300 up. Just two men in catching position out there for Dean Jones. There were 3 slips when Merv Hughes was dismissed. Just Taparay and Botham now. And then the third man, who was in the slip cordon, has gone to a sort of a backward point position, but for that square slash of Jones, he's really in a catching position. That's Graham Gooch. And now one of them has a chase. In fact, it's going to be Embury who will make ground from third man, but not quite quickly enough. Nicely controlled by Dean Jones.
Typical Australian stroke. Most Australians play this shot pretty well. Dean Jones no exception. Beautifully timed in bisecting Gower and Gooch square on the offside and defeating Embury down at third man.
There's a good shot from Jones. Even though the outfield's had plenty of rain on it, he'll still go for four. It was beautifully timed.
Well, again, this was the problem that Dilley's experiencing. As soon as he bowls into that leg and middle stumps, the ball doesn't swing. If it's slightly overpitched, and a player of Jones's class, he's very strong through that mid-wicket to square area. Really times that away beautifully through mid-wicket.
It was good cricket. It was a very good shot and brilliantly fielded by Dilley.
Good shot by Jones. Let the ball come on to him. Kept his head really down. Punched it away off the back foot. Dilley following through. It's easier to go that way when you follow through. Just gets the left hand to it.
Russell couldn't get across to that. Embury can, and look at that running from Dean Jones. 3 runs. Might even be more. Well, some sloppy stuff there. A wild return from Embury. Russell couldn't gather it, and nobody even thought at the bowler's end. And suddenly what looked like 2's turned into 7. That's a great shot. Might have been a bit in the air, but it was right off the middle of the bat. And Holmes now starting to look a really well-organised batsman. Nearly got through. Hurrying back on to the left-hander.
A quicker arm ball there, run in, and just getting the bat down in time there, Jones.
And the umpires have just conferred a very gloomy scene. Australia gone on to 346 for 7, but to the joy of a large crowd who really have had short shrift today from the weather. The Australians have refused the offer of the light, and so play will continue. Paul Jarvis. On a useful delivery. Coming right back on to Jones. Managed to squeeze it out.
And Paul Jarvis looking to run in a bit steadier now. And get a bit more control. And that was a good delivery. That certainly nipped back a long way. Would miss leg stump at the finish, but a very fine delivery.
Trevor Holmes, he's played his part in this partnership. Pretty tentative start, but he's settled down well now. couldn't really move his feet. It could have been a wicket for Jarvis.
Yes, you do feel Jarvis just needs that wicket to give him that bit of encouragement. Certainly bowling more control now. He's coming to the wicket better, not charging in quite as quick. And quite a bit of life there. That really carried through to the keeper.
Oh, and another one, pitching and leaving, and that was a better ball. Two good deliveries, but that second one was a beauty.
Yeah, that's probably as good an over as Paul Jarvis has bowled this match. Roundabout on the length every ball, bowling at left and right under batsmen, bowling a good line to both of them. And that will encourage him a little.
Jones plays Embury pretty well. He likes to get down the wicket if he can, and if he can't, well, that front pad all the way there and just the bat close alongside it. No gap at all. Down he comes. And beaten in the flight there. A good bit of bowling there from Embury. It's a good battle between Embury and Jones. Two high-class performers. We see here Jones, down he comes, can't quite get there, but just making sure he's got it covered. And there's certainly some spin here for Embury. He suddenly clicked into gear at Lords. He bowled well there, and the more he's bowled here, the better he's bowled. Oh, he's gone for the big hit, fetched it from just outside off stump. Nobody out there, 4 runs. That's the 350 up, and Jones's 14th boundary.
And I think with the Aussies staying on in bad light and playing a few shots like that, the captain has probably said, let's get on with it and have a chance of bowling at England. That was certainly the old-fashioned league slog, and well picked up by Jones.
That also brings up the 50 partnership. Dropped it. Was in the air quite a while after it looked to have taken it, saying that something happened that shouldn't have done, but the simple thing is it didn't stick.
Well, that's as straightforward a slip catch as you get. Waist high, straight in the middle. And again, Jarvis, an unlucky bowler. He's not had much luck in this series, and he has struggled a little bit, and the wicket would obviously do him the world of good, but the ball flying out there of Botham's grasp.
Well, and that's the inevitable thing. Poor Jarvis. Hadn't bowled all that well, but has enjoyed no luck whatsoever. And having had the wicket he was perfectly entitled to have expected, and seeing, well, still one of the best slip fielders in Test cricket, both, and put it down. This is what we see next ball. Bang. 4 runs. And that partnership now, a record one for this wicket at Edgbaston. Previous one was here 4 years ago between Lawson and McDermott. Well, says Jarvis, have a look at this one.
Jarvis gets quite a lot of pace without any real effort, and that was quite a useful bouncer.
Well, that's 4 runs.
Yes, he doesn't miss too many opportunities like that, Dean Jones. He has shown an ability to go on once he gets to the century mark. Already has 2 double centuries in Test cricket and a 184 not out to his credit.
That's fairly flown off the bat.
Beautiful deflection there by Trevor Hohns. And I think what the umpires are discussing is the batsman running down the pitch. Trevor Hohns was spoken to there by umpire Holder. Once again, Paul Jarvis getting the ball to nip back on Dean Jones, and he gets the edge onto the pads down amongst his feet. When you're having a good trot, those roll back onto the stumps. I'm talking about the bowler having a good trot.
Very important for a bowler of this pace that he gets his rhythm right. It looks as though Jarvis has just about got that working today.
So he's bowled a couple of good bounces, one to Trevor Hohns that made him duck pretty smartly. On that occasion he made Dean Jones pull the head back, or as we say in Australia, pull your head in, mate. He pulled it in pretty smartly.
It's well bowled again.
The light really does seem to have deteriorated in the last few minutes, but you must bear in mind that the Australians knocked back an offer of the light, so it's now got to deteriorate below that level that it was when the umpires offered it before they'll offer it again.
It's one of the reasons Russell is up over the stumps.
There's not a lot in it. Dean Jones actually makes a little movement just before the bowler delivers the ball. The little movement is with the back foot. It takes him very close to the line. But he just had enough grounded behind the line to be safe.
Yes, Russell's had a very good match, as indeed he's had throughout this series so far. Well, the next move from the Australian dressing room was to hustle a message out with the 12th man, Mike Valletta, to Dean Jones and Trevor Hohns to let them know that if the umpires offered them the light again, well, they should feel free to accept it. And that's exactly what they did after 12 more runs had been added. At 6:25, they were offered the light, and away they went at 391 for 7, with Jones on 141 and Trevor Hohns on 40. 97 runs added during the day for the loss of the one wicket. That's Merv Hughes, who fell to Dilley, caught by Botham, and he was out for 2. So that's a splendid effort from the Australians and a good partnership between Jones and Hohns. The outstanding bowler again, I thought, for England was Angus Fraser. He'll be finding it a bit hard now to keep his concentration and to keep bowling as strongly as he has there with 27 overs, 7 maidens and 2 for 50. So the Australians have done extremely well in this match to date. It's been, well, just a little tedious with the weather, I'm afraid. We can't do anything about it, but I'm just delighted that the Saturday crowd managed to get some cricket. There's nothing worse than coming to the ground, paying your money, and then not seeing a ball bowled. Well, at least they saw those 97 runs, and many of them made by Dean Jones, who not only has played well here, but also had a super... The 4th day of the 3rd Cornhill Test match at Edgbaston. Welcome to the highlights, and a much better day weather-wise than on Saturday, when the spectators and viewers were so frustrated. Play began today with the Australians batting on. Border had said he'd decide when he got to the ground what he'd do. He decided they would bat on, and that's their scorecard at the start of play. 391 for 7. Jones is 141. Trevor Hohns, the left-hander, a bit of a revelation from him there, 40 not out, and he's quite an accomplished batsman. Still to come, Lawson and Alderman, and the Australians in a very strong position. We join play now with the last ball of the first over. Hohns is taking strike, Dilley is coming into bowl, and there is no addition to the score. And he's gone. Caught by Gooch at gully, not quite over the top of the attempted square drive. And in the first over of the morning, Trevor Hohns has gone. The 8th wicket goes down for Australia. No addition to the overnight score, and Jones is on 141.
Very good piece of bowling there by Graham Dilley. Just a fraction further up than the previous delivery. Once again, it moved away off the seam, and that's what caused it to catch the outside edge. And an easy catch there for Graham Gooch in the gully. Trevor Hearns out for 40, and Australia 391 for 8.
The batsman is Geoff Lawson, coming in at number 10. Alderman will be 11. Just wide of David Gower.
So that's what he likes to do, get onto the back foot and give the fast bowlers a bit of a smash outside off stump. Not too fussy whether they go along the ground or in the air.
Angus Fraser. Up comes the 400 for Australia. They've had a great time with the bat this series. So that's disappointment for Angus Fraser. I don't know that Geoffrey Lawson changed his stroke all that much.
Umpire Holder puts middle stump back in after Angus Fraser had rearranged the furniture with a beautiful off-cutter.
With that extraordinarily weak organisation, the International Cricket Conference wants something to do that's worthwhile during the week. Instead of fiddling about with a lot of peripheral matters, they could do worse than look at the front foot law, see if they can come up with something that makes the game easier for everyone. That's beautifully played. That's as good a stroke as Jones has played in the whole of this innings. Perfect timing and brilliant placement. That's safe. John Embury is the fielder. Didn't get it off the middle of the cue, but it's brought up to 150 for Dean Jones. Trouble here. The only trouble was for England.
I think we'll find that Paul Jarvis, who's the man who got very quickly to the bowler's end, Tim Curtis was quickly in to field the ball. Jones had left his partner high and dry, but I think you'll find that Paul Jarvis takes his eye off the ball just as he's about to catch it and drag it down onto the stumps. And he makes a horrible mess of it.
There's another one. And good tactics by Australia. They want as many runs and as quickly as they can get.
Yes, if they're going to have any chance at all of winning this test match, then they've got to make England follow on.
Bowled in, and that's where Fraser really is a high-quality performer. He wasn't put off by being hit over the top. He was prepared to pitch the ball in the area that would hit the stumps, and that's Lawson bowled for 12, and Australia now 421 for 9.
Yes, and you do feel watching Fraser bowl that again, this is a pretty good delivery, angled in, not giving the batsman room. You do feel if Fraser played in the previous two matches, you don't really see the Australian tail-end batsman making as many as they have done in the previous two. He keeps hammering away at the stumps on a good length, good line, and sooner or later tail-end batsmen do miss the ball, and if you're straight then you get the wicket. That's well bowled again by Fraser.
caught by the substitute Ian Foley, so Dean Jones last man out. Caught sub-bowled Fraser, who gets a congratulatory pat from John Embury. 157. What a marvellous innings by Dean Jones, and really the one that's anchored Australia all the way through to this very big total of 424.
Well, Jones doing the right thing, wait for the fielders to be brought up at the end of the over, then trying to hit it over the top of them. That occasion, Fraser again was just short of the length, didn't quite get in the middle of the bat, high up the bat, and the ball just going to Foley there at square leg for a comfortable catch.
Fine innings from Jones. That's his 5th Test match 100.
And a thoroughly good performance it was too from Dean Jones, 157. He's been in tremendous form since he's gone down to number 5 in the batting order, going in between Border and War, and it's been a tremendous move by Australia's captain Alan Border to come up with that batting lineup. 424 in all for the Australians, and the outstanding bowler for England, Angus Fraser, on debut. 33 overs, 8 maidens, 4 for 63, and he thoroughly deserved those figures. A very fine performance from a good young bowler. So 424 for Australia. We join the England innings now. It's the first ball of the 3rd over, and 1 run is on the board.
There to Curtis. And that's a good shot. Off the back foot, just short of the length and square away on the offside. That will give Curtis a little bit of confidence. That was certainly a fine stroke. Alderman just a little bit on the short side, and Curtis dispatching that without any trouble at all, square on the offside there.
Alderman to Gooch.
Oh, well, a lot of good fortune in that for Graham Gooch, but he gets off the mark. How the ball eventually got through mid-off, it's difficult to imagine. Maybe we'll see that again. But again, you see the weight going across the offside and the right shoulder coming around very strongly.
Australia must feel very unlucky here. They've used marvellous tactics. They've tried to make Graham Gooch play the ball through square leg where the gap is, trying to get him LBW or there, going for the front edge for a caught and bowled. So there's a lot of luck here for Graham Gooch. He was trying to hit the ball away through square leg to get off the mark. The ball hitting the front edge. How it stayed so low, I don't know.
Just looking at that second short leg running across the pitch now, and almost directly behind Boone. Well, that must be close, and that is out. Gooch playing across a delivery. Didn't bounce that high, but it also didn't exactly creep, and there's the first wicket for Australia. Graham Gooch, LBW to Lawson for 8, and England 17 for 1.
As umpire Dickie Bird didn't have much doubt about that one. Lawson forced him back with the length, and the ball just moving back off the seam, and absolutely no doubt about that one at all. So once again, the Australians have got rid of Gooch quite cheaply, and I'm sure that those field placings that Jack was talking about are having something to do with the problems that Graham Gooch has had in this series.
That's a nice shot. Nicely timed, and although this outfield's had plenty of rain, that'll be 4. Third 4 for Tim Curtis.
It's a good shot. It wasn't a genuine half volley. Curtis was on the back foot.
It's really well bowled. There's nothing Gower could do about that except play the stroke. He had to play at it.
Yes, that pitched about off the middle and really left David Gower. And Terry Alderman being unlucky in this match. He's taken a lot of wickets in this series so far. Nothing for him today, but he's certainly had 1 or 2 good shouts for LBW, and he's beaten the bat on at least half a dozen occasions, probably more.
Sounded like an edge from here.
Well, it was certainly, if there wasn't an edge, it was very close. A good delivery again, just on that off stump coming in. Didn't look like an edge. Possibly just got outside the line. Maybe an edge after the foul.
That was just about the ideal delivery. If anything, it came in a little bit to David Gower and then darted away once it hit the seam.
Yes, and there's quite a bit more cloud about now. The sun's gone in, it's warm. Gower definitely playing at that, and it really is wobbling around a bit now from Terry Alderman.
Yes, he's given. Well, that's a lovely spell of bowling from Terry Alderman. He's beaten Gower on and just outside the off stump, time and again out there, and then he's darted one back in at him. Umpire John Holder took his time about the decision and decided Gower was playing a stroke but hadn't got himself outside off stump. Well bowled again. He drew Tavares into the stroke.
Well, Alan Bird will just be hoping that Terry Alderman can bowl all day at that end. That's his only problem. Another perfect delivery. Roundabout off stump, going away beautifully.
So Terry Alderman has just been warned for running down too close to the line of the stumps.
And the way the ball's swinging, it won't do him any harm if he goes 6 inches wider. Maybe the batsman will get a touch then.
And he's gone. Taylor and Ray Illingworth has read it beautifully.
Well, that sometimes happens. Terry Alderman bowls so close to the stump, so he's making the ball go and beat the bat. He just goes a fraction wider. The ball, therefore, is that little bit straighter. Tavares got the touch, and a nice low catch there first.
Kim Barnett is wearing the helmet. He's limping. Graham Gooch has to be clad in the same sort of gear. He's doing the running, and they're just negotiating at the moment as to which will call and which won't run. Distinctly different from what happened up at Trent Bridge in the one-dayer when Ian Healy had a runner, and they all set off.
Merview is now to continue to Tim Curtis.
Goes for the hook. 4 runs. Stuttering little run up and then breaks loose and everything's right there, but not the delivery. Short and wide, and that's one of Curtis's better shots. It's his 5th 4, takes him into the 30s, and that's his highest score for England. so far. bounce there, but Curtis got over it. And yet another crisp square cut for 4. 6th boundary for him. Now Alan Border moving himself to 2nd gully, away from 3rd slip. So, a half volley on the other side, put away. It'll also be 4. This is one of the bonuses for a batsman once he's in with these close set fields. There are gaps. That might be close, and it is. That's out. And Curtis falling as has been suggested he might. His front footwork has been a little tentative, and LBW to Hughes for 41, and now England in some trouble at 75 for 4.
There, Curtis just crowding the line of the ball, getting his leg across the line, not really forward, and Dickie Bird there absolutely convinced that he's out.
Oh, it's out. That's a very carefree shot. Or was it desperate? By Kim Barnett, he was a mile away from the ball. It's agony to walk off when you know that you've contributed so much to getting yourself out and the bowler so little. Ian Chappell.
So he was coming forward first of all, and then really waving at that one with the weight falling backwards. Really gave himself absolutely no chance of playing that one properly. That brings Jack Russell to the crease.
Oh, it hits him. First ball faced by Jack Russell. Completely taken by surprise and turned away from it.
Steve Waugh's an aggressive medium pacer, but that was very poorly played by Jack Russell, taking his eye off the ball.
Just a little bit of cloud cover, which was of great assistance to Terry Alderman early on. That's a good shot. Very ambitious of Waugh at that pace.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a mistake against Ian Botham. I think you're going to get him going, if anything, by doing things like that. I think you're far better keeping him tight, just probing the off stump and keep him playing defensively. It's not a role he likes to play. Don't give him opportunity to play strokes.
That's good square drive off a no ball.
Not quite a half volley, and I think both of them would probably have played that shot anyway, but it was a no ball. But you see there, good use of the left arm. That's one thing that Tim Curtis doesn't do. He tends to keep that left arm into his side and not use it to allow the bat to go freely through. But when Ian Botham does strike, he does use that left arm beautifully.
And that's an even better stroke. Beautiful timing.
Although Botham's renowned as a big hitter, he really is basically very correct when he strikes the ball.
Just over halfway at 1-1-3. Jeff Lawson to start the final session. Well, there's a good example of what's been happening on this Edgbaston pitch today. The ball not getting up all that much, but also moving sideways.
Wicketkeeper Ian Healy's the man to watch here. The ball not carrying to first slip. He'll be ticking through his mind whether he could have possibly gone for that.
Terry Alderman now playing in his 27th Test match, and of those 107 wickets, 64 against England. There, Botham's gone for a glorious shot. And that's real vintage stuff. Really is a correct player. Hits the ball very hard, but just look at foot, shoulder and bat in this stroke. Lawson to Botham. That's the 50 partnership. They came together in the 29th over, so a good rate. 15 overs it's taken, with Russell's contribution 14. And both of them now starting to swing into top gear. And then he can do that. That'll be 4. That's a handsome stroke, beautifully timed, but again I think illustrating the slow pace of this pitch.
That becomes the 150 for England. That boundary by Jack Russell. Trevor Hohns come on well, leg spin from the city end. I don't think I've ever seen this happen before, with the non-striker, Jack Russell, actually carrying the striker's helmet. Botham has decided he doesn't want a helmet with Hohns bowling. Good shot. Merv Hughes is on now, facing Steve Waugh, and quick bowling changes by Alan Border. Both of them taking strike. Hughes has done it. Well, that was a good innings from both of them, but Hughes has come on and got the breakthrough that now puts in jeopardy England's chance of avoiding the follow-on.
Didn't do a great deal, probably not quite the length for driving through it, just slightly angled into Botham, going between bat and pad, but I think the fact that Botham was hitting through a ball that wasn't quite there to hit through.
John Emburey is the man coming out to join Jack Russell. Was close.
Jack Russell here very keen to get the single, looking to get the other end there, setting off, not hearing John Emburey's call, and then at the last minute sent back, and my word, this is very, very close.
Oh, well caught, Taylor. And Hohns has the wicket. That lifted as well as spun, and having just survived the run out, Russell is out straight away. Well caught by Mark Taylor at slip off the leg spinner Trevor Hohns.
Well, an absolutely vital wicket this for Australia here. They need this wicket to try and get England out before they reach that magic score of 225. This ball turning and bouncing, and a very, very good catch there at first slip, well above his head. Angus Fraser has just come into bat, and although a frontline bowler, he can bat.
Not much of a backlift, but gets in line. Bit edgy, but 4 runs.
Fraser here, not sure whether it's going to be the leg spinner or Googly. Because of that, he had to play at this wide delivery and the ball turning away, and a very fine stop there by Mark Taylor at slip.
And that finished off a good day for Mark Taylor. He took 2 catches. A good day for the Australians, in fact. England 185 for 7. Embury on 2, Fraser 12, and 2 more runs were taken off the last over, bowled by Hughes. The bowling figures for Australia: Alderman was outstanding today, as he has been all through the series. 21 overs, 6 maidens, and 2 for 45, but everyone did well. Hughes came on, a good bowling change from Border, picked up another wicket when he got both of them, and Hones, the leg spinner, 1 for 13 in 10 overs and 4 maidens. That is the situation for England. They're 239 behind at 185 for 7. Need another 40 to avoid the follow-on. And that is a very, very tough situation in which to find themselves after they must have had high hopes of batting out not only today but tomorrow as well. The weather forecast for tomorrow is quite good. The Australians are on top, and perhaps the day can best be summed up by 2 shots, one of both them walking out after... The last day of the 3rd Cornhill Test match at Edgbaston. Welcome to the highlights. A day full of all kinds of possibilities. The first is that England need to save the follow-on. If they can possibly do that, then we may be in for just an ordinary Monday afternoon. Otherwise, it could be filled with plenty of excitement. The scorecard at the start of the day: 185 for 7 England. Fraser is not out 12, Embury not out 2. Good partnership yesterday between Botham and Russell. They put on 96. And the bowling figures for Australia: they've done very well so far once again. Alderman 2 for 45, and Lawson a wicket, 1 for Waugh, 2 for Hughes, and 1 for Trevor Hones. The conditions are excellent when the players walked out onto the field, but England still needed another 40 to avoid the follow-on, and that 40 runs might well have looked light years away. We join play now in the first over. Trevor Hones is the bowler, the leg spinner coming in from the City end. He's coming in to bowl to Fraser. There's no addition to the score. Goodness me, it's brilliantly picked up out there at backward point, having to skirt around for it. But goodness me, what a way to get out with the team in that situation. Merv Hughes, the man at backward point.
Well, I would have thought that it was Fraser's call, really. He's hit it, if not in front of square, dead square. He's got a good view of the thing. He set off for the run, obviously calling for it, but Embury never ever responded. Certainly was a good piece of work by Merv Hughes. You can see it going there. Well, it is just on the square, fading away to behind square, but Fraser had a really good view of it. So if he's called yes, and you would have to agree with him, there was a run there, but once he was sent back, he was always in trouble. A good pick-up by Ian Healy, and a good piece of work by Merv Hughes, but that was a schmozzle as far as England were concerned.
Now then, for the left-hander, Graham Dilley, Hones is bringing another man onto the on side. He has 2 men in the outfield. Well bowled was the flipper. And a good tight over from Trevor Hones. Dilley and Embury together now. We could get 3 there. If the outfield's quick enough, might even beat the man. Yeah, he runs away down in that corner. 4 to Embury. Before, there's no 3rd man, and there's no 3rd slip because Embury forced Border to make the change in the last over. He's got away with it, and he got 4 runs as well.
Well, there have been 12 runs scored this morning, all runs have come from 3 boundaries hit by John Embury. One a genuine drive through the onside. The other 2 have been edges. One an outside edge past third slip, and that French cut.
Good shot, another boundary. .200 up for England. It's got the flipper away beautifully, and that'll be 4. It's a good shot. That was unorthodox, playing a square drive off the flipper and getting it off the meat of the bat.
Now the new ball taken, so Alan Border pressing now for these last 2 wickets. Well, Lawson's disappointed. 2 runs. Have a look at that and just see what happened with this one, which Embury's gone off the middle, high to the right there of Gully, and looks as though that was a chance. There's runs there, and that was nicely played. Could be 4. And it is. That makes the 9th wicket stand worth 30, and how priceless these runs are for England. Out. Picking the only man on the onside, David Boone, and John Embury. Well, he's disgusted with himself. Short delivery, hammering it straight to Boone. Caught for 26, and now England 215 for 9.
Yes, absolute nothing delivery, really. Short of a length, well short of a length, and John Embury could have picked his spot, probably hitting it off the back foot through the covers, but he elected to play the pull shot, didn't keep it down. Probably far better off just hitting it off the back foot through the offside, giving a nice catch there to David Boone at wide mid-on. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on Jarvis now, but he really shouldn't be thinking that way. Really, if the batsman up at the top half of the order had done the job, there's no way that Paul Jarvis should have been coming into bat with 10 still required to save the follow-on.
There he goes. Not off the middle. Probably not on the side of the wicket he was aiming. But 2 runs.
The Alderman can only have him for 1 ball. So that could be the crucial single. Terry Alderman would have wanted a few at Paul Jarvis. Jarvis has got away. Just 4 more to save the follow-on. 225 is the figure. You can bet your life that Graham Dilley's heart would have given a bit of a leap there.
Alderman here pitching pretty straight, it looks, and it just looks, you can just see the bat and pad close together. It looks as though the ball might have just struck bat, but my word, what a very close decision there for the umpire to give.
And there it is. There's the big in-swinger, and Jarvis has hit it straight down the ground. There's a standing ovation being given to Jarvis and Dilley at the moment. Which hasn't actually been won, but the follow-on has been saved. Widespread relief around this ground. And safely away down through the third man area, wide of the gully. Jarvis, who once or twice has played very well with the bat for Yorkshire, is doing the same for England today. LBW. Paul Jarvis, LBW to Terry Alderman. Graham Dilley doesn't look happy about it. Paul Jarvis doesn't look happy about it. But then they were happy enough with the one Alderman didn't get a little while ago. It's forever been the story of cricketers' lives and umpires as well. 242 England all out. That was a splendid last wicket partnership between Dilley and Jarvis. Jarvis the man out and Dilley remaining unbeaten on 11. 242, the bowling figures for Australia. They shared the wickets. Alderman 3, Lawson 2, Waugh 1, 2 for Hughes, and a very good spell from Trevor Holmes, who's bowling better and better the more work he gets, which is understandable with the leg spinner. 16 overs, 8 maidens, and 1 for 18. The match situation, when the Australians had to go in again, they were 182 runs ahead, England having been dismissed for 242. We join play now in the first over of the Australian innings. Dilley is coming in to bowl to Geoff Marsh, and 3 runs have already been put on the board.
That's good delivery. Only gets the penalty of 4 runs, but a lovely ball which cut away off the wicket.
So that's the sort of thing that happens when things aren't quite going for you.
Oh, that was well bowled. A little wide, but early in an innings, left-handers get drawn into that sort of shot.
Now Angus Fraser from the pavilion end. He's coming in past umpire John Holder. Mark Taylor will take strike. That's a good shot. Beautiful timing by Mark Taylor. He's done that a few times in this series, just the gentle little defensive push off the back foot.
Beautifully bowled. And really, Angus Fraser has gone from strength to strength in this match.
Fraser there quite close to the stumps, and my word, that really was a good delivery. The ball, if anything, looked as if it might just swing into the left-hander there, hitting the seam and moving out. He really has had a great first test match.
A nice shot. Beautifully timed. The outfield now much quicker than it was in the first 3 days. Nicely timed shot. Embury giving chase. It's a very short, straight boundary at the pavilion end, some 20 yards difference compared with the one at the other end.
Just watch the batsman coming forward here, the weight into the shot, beautifully timed. Just closing the face of the bat fractionally there. Geoff Marsh has a very strong bottom hand grip, and there you can see that arm coming through, and that's what closes the face of the bat, dragging the ball there from straight to just past mid-on, but beautifully timed.
That was a good bouncer. In the end, Taylor got out of it, but he was in about 3 minds.
Watch the batsman's head and eyes here. Does he keep them on the line and looking at the ball all the time? In fact, he does right until the last moment. Looks though he might have just been considering whether he was going to have a hook there.
Nice shot from Marsh. Starting now to hit something like his best form. And that's the 50 partnership. It's coming up in the 18th over. John Emburey now coming on to bowl instead of Angus Fraser. Turn. Spin there for Emburey.
John Emburey on this, well, the first few balls has bowled with quite a bit of width for him.
Jarvis to Taylor. Oh, that could have been a wicket. That was much too close to cut, and there was lift there for Jarvis.
Watch Mark Taylor's movements here. In fact, he moved the body away after the ball had gone, but as Jack was saying there, a little bit too close to cut, not enough width, and in fact playing a shot in between a straight bat shot there and a cut.
That's a good shot. Right to the gap. Oh, brilliant stop. Marvellous stop. There's Tim Curtis sprinting after that. I still marvel at the way that the modern fielder slides in feet first. Oh, that was close to the outside edge.
One of Geoffrey Marsh's favourite shots. Square cut.
That's a very good shot by Geoff Marsh. He picked that short one up quickly, got into good position and crashed it away to mid-wicket. John Emburey to Marsh. And that one gets through this time. And beats Angus Fraser to the boundary, so 4 more to Geoff Marsh. Just beginning to look good. He's played a couple of decent hook shots of Jarvis. And beginning to cover drive John Emburey. Bowled him, and Jarvis at last gets a wicket. And Geoff Marsh just beginning to look for his shots. I think he felt that here was a bridge to getting the strokes going, and annoyingly for him it was an inside edge. Over they went. But that's a happiest moment so far in this test match for Paul Jarvis.
Yes, that was a bit of a battle of the bad luck men in this test match. Paul Jarvis hasn't had a lot of good fortune. Geoffrey Marsh with 40 in each innings. Would think that he'd just done the hard work, but then not gone on and finished off the job.
81 for 1. David Boone is the man who's gone out to the middle.
I think I'd be rather disappointed if I were in Jarvis's shoes. Graham Gooch has been brought on in his place. The slide was there for Jarvis, but not the contact for Watermark Taylor. It's a good shot. He was the third man, but He's considerably finer than that. That was a nice square drive from Mark Taylor.
Yes, Gooch giving him a little bit of width there. Quite a lot of width, actually. But he got well across, got over the ball, never left the carpet. Beautiful shot, right along the floor.
It's the 100 up for Australia. The board doesn't say so, now it does. In the 39th over, so fairly sedate progress. Well, that's a big appeal, and that is close.
Graham Gooch known really for his outswing, but here the ball definitely swinging in, and I should think the umpire just deciding whether the ball is missing leg stump there or not.
And that's 50. Not without some problems, but Mark Taylor again soldiers through them. Fraser, the fielder, takes him on to 51 out of 107. It's taken him 47 overs, but a pretty solid effort. 146 deliveries, 4 fours. Nice shot there from Boone. It'll just be 3 runs. Gooch doesn't give too many half volleys to batsmen. He's just that medium pace, which, if he shortens the length a touch, difficult to hit through him. Oh, what a great catch by Ian Botham. Really was out of the top drawer. Marvellous catch by Botham. Gooch gets his man. Taylor goes for 51. And Australia 109 for 2. What a splendid catch.
It's never easy when the keeper's standing up to a medium pacer. You get a slightly late look. And that's a good catch from Ian Botham. So Mark Taylor with another 50 to his name is heading towards the pavilion. 51 on this occasion, and Australia 109 for 2.
Ian Healy, the new batsman, being sent in to get a little bit of batting practice. Well, nearly another. This one bisecting the gap. 2 runs, and suddenly Gooch finding movement in the pitch. Another big appeal. Again, Gooch, well, thinks he should have had his man. The umpire holder says no.
Well, that's a pretty reasonable sort of shout, I would have thought.
He did get forward quite a way, and that may be what saved him.
Ian Healy is normally a very confident batsman, a very busy player, always looking for runs, short singles. I think you can see in his play at the moment a lack of confidence. He's not taking the bat back very far.
Well, obviously it's not how far you take it back, but how far it goes forward, because that was off the middle. Perfectly good 4 for Ian Healy.
In fact, that is the first time that he's really given it the full backlift, so maybe the confidence is coming. Just watch this push for two. It's really a push with the bottom hand.
Well, it was on leg stump, and David Boon finally lets the bat flow through. Lovely stroke to mid-wicket. 4 runs all the way.
Yes, David Boone's always very quick to pick anything up around that leg stump. Strong, stocky player.
Well, that was a strange run from John Embury. As if to say, look, this is the sort of ball you leg glancer for to an off-spinner's field.
Tim Curtis to take the place of John Embury at the City end. A leg spinner, and there you are. I thought you'd knock them all off over here, Ray.
That's the first time I've seen Tim bowl get too many opportunities with Worcestershire.
A bit of the pace taken off that by Ian Foley. Peter Healy. And the 150 up for Australia in the second innings of this third test. And there were 8 more runs added up to the close of play, which was 5:30, at which point the captains are permitted to call off the game if there's no chance of a result. That's exactly what Alan Border and David Gower did. It was a pleasant afternoon, but there was nothing hanging to it, really. 158 for 2, Taylor out for 51 to that marvellous catch by Ian Botham, 42 to Jeff Marsh, the same as he made in the first innings, and Boone and Healy saw them through to the end. Healy getting some valuable match practice there. That was a good move on Border's part. The wickets falling to Jarvis. I was very surprised to see Jarvis bowl only 6 overs today. I'd have thought they'd have wanted him to bowl 15 to 20 overs. Gooch 14 overs, 1 for 30 was the other wicket taker. Well, the third test match, third Cornhill test at Edgbaston, finished with Australia 420.